video about SMMware, software for handling sales, project management, and day-to-day operations for your business. Here we have the 2026 version of our video on how you as a salesperson can use SMMware to streamline your sales process. Okay, let's begin. We're going to start by assuming that you have an incoming sales call. This is the first time that you're speaking with this person. Before we move along, I'll mention that the label sales lead is what you get by default. However, the settings editor allows you to change that to match your preferences, such as inquiries or prospects or estimates. Here we are on the listing of sales leads. I'm going to click on the new sales lead button. In SMMware, there are 3 fundamental records. And the underlying thinking is that we want to support repeat business. We have a client record, which holds information about your potential client as a person, things that don't change when they hire you from one job to the next. So it could be the name and email and phone number. Then we have sales leads, one for each opportunity. And then if you win the work, we have a job record. So here we are. We've started a sales lead for this particular opportunity. This is a brand new client, so we're going to click on the plus sign where we can add another record for the client. While we're here, I'd like to point out these 3 records, which indicate who referred the business to you. A lot of software only has 1. We have 3, and it starts at the top with a category. Could be Google ads, could be radio ads, newspaper ads, could be your company website. From there, we drill down into the actual company and the person. By collecting these 3 levels of information in our referrals report, you can answer questions like, where did our business come from in the 3rd quarter of last year? And you can see this much came from your Google ads or from your newspaper ads, etc., or word of mouth, so on and so forth. Next, we have a place to indicate a client representative. If they're already in the system, like an attorney, they would already be in this list. You can use the plus sign to add one. You can indicate the relationship, such as attorney or adult child. If your particular business does not use client representatives, you can turn this off in the sales editor. Next, we have client custom fields. This is information about them as a person, things that don't change. Could be mobility issues if you're a senior move manager. Could be the level of disorganization that they have if you're a professional organizer, and so on. These labels are what we give you by default, but you can set them as you like using the settings editor. Here at the bottom we have addresses. If it's a single family home, you can just go ahead and type in the address. If this is a common address that you an apartment building or a senior living center, then you can go ahead and start typing the name, and SMMware will fill in the addresses for you, so you don't have to memorize those or cut and paste them. I'm going to go ahead and save that record. So again, we started a sales lead, we took a little detour to create the client record, and having done that, we're back here at our sales lead in progress. Here we can indicate the job type. This listing is something that you can customize. Here we have the sales lead status. This is what you get by default, but again, this can also be customized. If you have more than one salesperson, you can pick them here. If there's only one, you can arrange to have them be indicated by default. You can enter the amount for the sales lead and the hours directly, or if you're using our quoting system, when you save that quote, these will be filled in for you. SMMware has a number of automations. If the customer tells you they're going to be making a decision in a couple of weeks, you enter that date here. SMMware will create a task. It'll assign it to your lead salesperson, and the due date will match the date you have here. When that date rolls around, the system will email your salesperson, reminding them to get in touch with the potential client. When you submit a quote to the potential client and use today's date, this would be too soon for reminding the salesperson about anything. So in the settings editor, when the situation comes up, you can say that you want to be reminded after 1 week or 2 weeks, or whatever you like. We also have a scoring system that's based on factors. So if you do have more sales leads then you can really address. Then you can use this scoring system to kind of do a triage and prioritize the ones that are the best opportunities. The scoring is based on the age, the value, the number of events in the calendar, and other factors which you can tweak the weighting for those scores. You can also assign organizations to this sales lead. It could be a moving company, it could be a handyman service, maybe they do some drywalling or something like that. Down here we have some sales lead custom fields. These are shared with the job records. The sales lead and the job are considered two sides of the same coin. These are values you might get by default, but you can also customize these. Here we have an entry for what we call the status bar. This appears on the home page, and this is about giving you your 30,000-foot view of how things are going across the company. These are the tags that you would get by default, but you can customize these as well. You can have more tags, different background colors, different labels. Here under the note, there's an opportunity to preset some text. The idea is that you can tell the user which information you want to collect at this phase of the game. However, you're not locked in. You can, if something doesn't apply this time around, you can always just get rid of it. Next we have information about where they are moving to, if that applies to your situation. If your company does not involve moving people, then we can go into the settings editor and just turn this aspect off. Go ahead and save this. So now we have the sales lead. Again, the sales lead is where you store all the information about this opportunity that is not part of the actual quote. And among that information might be photos that you take at the client's home during the sales process. Go ahead and upload a few. And I'll point out to the long cryptic file names that your phone likes to assign. Because here we have an auto rename tag. Here's the image tags that we can customize as well. And when we upload, assuming that we're using the auto rename, you'll wind up with file names that combine the calendar or the image tag along with the sequence number. So we have, in this case, bedroom 1001, bedroom 1002, so on and so forth. We can click through the photos. We can change the tag, rotate them, change the name. We can write a note to ourselves. We can see who uploaded the photo and when. We can download it, and we can also share it. If you do not use our quoting system or the e-signing, maybe you have a physical quote that somebody signed, you scan it to PDF, you can upload it here to the restricted file manager, and that will restrict the access to salespeople and admins, whereas the regular file manager is viewable by other people in the company, like basic users, once it becomes a job. Here under the sales lead, we also have a listing of tasks and notes for this. Let's go ahead and take a look at creating a quote. So again, the quote is the document saying what you're going to do, how long it's going to take, and how much it's going to cost. Creating a quote in SMMware is a question of combining the various building blocks that we give you. Client block is going to have exactly that information, their name, address, other info. The header blocks are just large, bold text. After you've worked with the system for a while, you're going to create some templates and then use those as the starting point for your quotes. That's a lot quicker than creating from scratch every time and helps you avoid forgetting various aspects. The areas in gray are going to be calculated for you, and then the other areas you can modify as you like. So they don't have a background color. SMMware also supports the idea of ranges. You can have a range for your hours, for your expenses, and your supplies. Moving down the page, we have the summary block, which does exactly what it says. It gathers up all the major categories and provides the subtotals as well as the grand total. Here we have a legal block where you can put your contractual information. And this is also where e-signing tags can go. When you're doing e-signing, you have two pieces of information that you need. And you need a name and how you're going to contact them, which could be an email address or could be a phone number. For the purposes of your templates, we have some short codes such as client, email, spouse, phone. And when you create a PDF out of this, SMMware is going to swap out these tags with the actual client name, the actual client email, and so on. We partner with Sign Now, which provides legally enforceable digital signing. Now that we have created our quote, let's see what it looks like as a PDF. You will have a custom image here at the top instead of this generic SMMware one. But down below you can see what the client's going to get. You can also email that same PDF as an attachment. And you can add some more recipients. The subject and the body are set in the settings editor for defaults, but then you can modify it per each situation if you like. This is the e-signing button that initiates e-signing if you're going to do that. Next, we have the idea of quote versions. Every time you give somebody a quote, it's common that they will come back to you with some revision requests. So here I'm looking at the first version of the quote. I'm going to copy that and save it as quote version number 2. This field, which is marked as private, is a place where you can write yourself a note explaining why this second version was created. SMMware offers two different approaches for how you charge your clients. The first approach is per job rate, where there's a single rate for every hour in the job. The next approach is called per job codes. A job code is simply a label and a rate. So when you're doing one kind of work for one rate, then another kind of work for another rate within the same job, then you will want to use job codes. Setting them up is pretty easy. You just create your list and assign the default rates. Here, back in the main view of the sales lead, we can edit the rates for our job codes. So if you need to either raise the rates because you feel like this is going to be a particularly challenging job, or if you need to lower the rates because you feel that's what you need to do in order to win the work, you can do that for this particular sales lead. So what you find in the settings editor are the defaults. Each sales lead gets a copy of that, which you can then customize. Next, we're just going to touch on the calendar. This is the master calendar. And I can create meetings that are specifically for sales. When I choose the sales tag, I'll get a list of my open sales leads, which I can pick from. I can insert the address, which back in the main view will become a map link, which then lets your phone give you the GPS directions to the destination. We're not going to go into all the details of our process for scheduling since we have a separate video just for that. But I will note that SMMware can inform your client that you're coming when the event is initially set up, and it can also give them a couple of reminders via both email and text. We also have an integration with Google Calendar. From here I'm going to jump to the home page, and at the bottom we have this section called My Schedule, and this is different than the company's master calendar. Here you will see only events that you are part of. We do have an option in SMMware if you're a salesperson and you want to be aware of events for jobs that you sold without having to be formally invited to it. That is something that can be set in your associate profile. So that way you can view your My Schedule calendar and see those events as well as the ones that you're personally attending. Moving back up to the top of the page, we have a status board for sales. This is your 30,000 foot view of how things are going across your sales efforts. Again, the sales leads can be modified from here, and they can be customized. We can set some text. I can work my way down the list, and when I'm done, I can use the refresh button so that it reorders them. For all the tasks that are assigned to you as a salesperson, they will appear in the Task Center under My Tasks. I can modify these from here as well. If I need to do more changes, I can open up the full task and make my changes there. As a salesperson, you care very much about who is recommending you to potential clients. They are known as referring contacts. And if it's been a long time since you have spoken with them, then they are considered stale. The purpose of this section is to look down this list and look at the ones that have the dates farthest in the past. You can call them or email them, and then you can update the date of last contact. After you've worked your way through the list, you can refresh it, and when all these dates are recent, then you can feel comfortable that you're in touch with the people that are sending you business. If there are places that you visit, say you give seminars and such, you can also have events that are tied to the locations that you go to for seminars. Next, we'll talk about reporting. Here we have the Report Center. And various ways of slicing and dicing the data that you've been entering into the system. We have the profitability report, which compares the estimated hours versus the actual hours. We have the referrals report that lets you analyze where your business is coming from. And many of these reports can be exported as CSV files, some of them as PDFs as well. Next, we'll talk about integrations. We integrate with MailChimp, and that is a tool for mass emailing your potential clients. And it will SMMware will copy over their name and their email address and a tag as prospective clients, and then you can use that to narrow down the recipients. So that way when you go into MailChimp, you just have to worry about forming up the actual email. If you're working with other software that SMMware does not directly speak with, then we have an integration with Zapier, which acts as a middleman, so that SMMware can tell Zapier that something has happened, like adding a new client, and then whatever other program you're using, Zapier tells them about the new client. So our integration with Zapier is very powerful because it allows you to combine SMMware with other software that you might want to use. So that concludes our discussion on specific features for sales in SMMware. To find out more, you can visit our YouTube channel at youtube.com/SMMware, and you can visit our website at www.smmmware.com. We appreciate your time and hope to talk to you soon.